Hi, hello, what's up and what's happening? Lyrics and Lies is back. Money Green is talking to you, and we have Shay on the mic,
Hey.
ready to give her 5 cents because I think this topic may hit home with her a little bit. Hits home with me too, but from a different angle. Brandon Casey, a member of the famous group Jagged Edge. We actually did an episode of our top 10 R&B groups, top 10 male R&B groups of the 90s, and Jagged Edge made both of our lists. So they're held in high esteem. They got the bomb songs, so deaf artists. Brandon Casey is one of the lead singers, one of the twins, and his daughter came out, did an interview with a woman named Tasha K, who has a very popular and bomb podcast on YouTube, Unwind with Tasha K, Unwine. Brandon Casey's daughter came forward, and she had her mother there to support her. But her stance was, my father really doesn't care too much about me. He has never been there for me. And he's also really not supporting my career. And it was tough to listen to and tough to watch because she was in a lot of pain. But the more I watched, the more my heart went out to her, but for different reasons than what she presented. So, Shay, we're going to get your stance on this.
Well, she seems like she was really in a place where she felt that her father wasn't paying enough attention to her and she wasn't getting the attention that she needed. Her mother co-signed on some of the stuff. Her mother also gave us some background on the relationship that she had with Brandon. And I think it was a mix between she wanted her dad to acknowledge her and also wanted her dad to give her a platform because she did do a little song or she did sing for Tasha, and she sounded really good. And she was feeling a lot of different things. She was feeling depressed. She was feeling, because she's plus size lady. So she was feeling something on that aspect of being a plus size woman. And that feeling of not having her father there the way she wanted her father to be there. So I did feel for her on that aspect. And plus, I don't know how real people think this is, but depression is real. Depression is a real feeling that some young people go through for different reasons, but we're talking about the young lady at hand right now. But she's going through a lot of stuff. I think most of it is she's in a very deep depressed state about her relationship with her dad.
So, I don't know if she's depressed, and she hasn't been clinically identified as being
Well,
depressed.
she feels depressed, but I don't know if she went to
She feels
see
sad.
Well, okay.
She feels very sad. You don't know you're depressed unless you're diagnosed. Just to be on the, I don't want to say politically correct, but just to be on the side of right and err on the side of caution. And, you can say I feel bad, this happened to such and such, or this opportunity fell through for me, so I feel sad. But you don't know if you're depressed.
Yeah, you
That's
do
like
know
a
if you're
super deep level. You have to know what depression is.
if you know what depression is, and you know the level of depression and how you feel. I mean, there's a definition for depression.
Yeah, she ain't no doctor.
Not saying she's a doctor, but there's plenty of people who suffer with depression who don't even know it.
Right.
And there are people who do know they're depressed, but they just haven't gone to the doctor or uh, discussed their depression.
There are a lot of people who say they're depressed that aren't.
Yeah, but there are a lot of people who are depressed and they don't want to say.
Well, they don't know and may not know.
But you do know you're depressed. You do know about being depressed.
Well, I tell you what.
I have to not. I can't agree with you on that.
Everybody that says they're depressed isn't depressed and don't know they're depressed. You can't say everybody.
I said there's a lot of people who are depressed and they know they are.
Yes, but how do they know if they've never been?
There's a feeling you get when you're depressed. And the reason why I know this is because I can vouch for that.
Right, but okay, well, we're going to keep it on her.
Yeah, we're going to keep it on her right now.
She may just feel bad or feel awful. The way in which she speaks, which is very youthful, she acts like a teenager.
And she is a teenager.
No, she's not.
No, in the sense of she's a teenager here.
Emotionally or mentally.
Yes.
Right.
She's a teenager.
And teenagers.
And she's stuck.
Right, and they say all types of things, so you never know what's going on with them. However, she's in her young 20s. Her parents, and this is not just about Brandon Casey and his daughter. This is just our segue into the broader view of men that have relationships and women that have relationships or start relationships that they really can't finish, or the relationships get beyond their control. Their relationship clearly got out of hand because he wasn't in a committed relationship with this woman. They were just sex buddies. And she lived in a different state. She lived several states away. And they were like teenagers. So if he's 17, 18, about to hit the road, he's in a singing group, he has hundreds of women coming after him.
Hold up before you go there.
Mm-hmm.
Their relationship started way before he got a record deal.
Right, but
remember
I'm still
that.
saying they were, well, he was in the group.
He was in the group, but
right.
They hadn't gotten signed or anything.
They hadn't gotten signed yet, but he's still 16, 17 years old.
Correct.
She gets pregnant, or they get pregnant, however you want to term it. He's still not responsible enough to be a parent at that age from several states away while he's on tour. Because, of course, when she had the baby, they signed the contracts and started hitting the road. And, of course, they got to promote, do shows, promos. But that child was sure to be without a father if that child didn't live with him. And if the child didn't live with him, and they're several states away, even if they moved to the same state, which they eventually did, she still was unable to see him because he was out of town a lot, but she had the opportunity to be with the family. So,
and the grandmother made sure of that.
Right. But a day or so later, Brandon Casey got to speak his side of the situation. And towards the end of the interview, when she was talking about her career, all the little bells or red flags that went off during the interview, up to that point, they just turned into big, bright red lights. Because, like a lot of youngsters, and I mean teenagers, young 20s, a lot of people think that they don't have to put any work in to do something, like things are microwavable. Fame is microwavable. If I talk to this person, or this person does this for me, I'll instantly become famous, I'll instantly become rich. And that's where she was coming from. So a lot of bitterness from her heart seems to come from her mother.
True.
And that was just ringing the entire town like, oh my goodness, this little girl's mother. I'm not going to say set her up, but she made it easy for her to share in her mother's bitterness. She made it very easy for her to fall right in line with her personal thoughts. And then taking this little girl back and forth. Why are we moving back and forth? Because your father this. Oh, I don't like this. Or they're not giving me this. Or we need this and they're not. Enough of that stuff building up year after year. That little girl is harboring some of that animosity and she's growing up with it. And now she's a young adult with that heart. And it was messed up. One example is she said that she wanted a ticket to his show.
Oh yeah.
Or she wanted to come to his show.
And it was only one ticket.
Big show in Atlanta, Jagged Edge, 112. I think Escape or Guy, somebody.
Yeah. One ticket.
And he gave her one ticket. And she had issues with that. And she's like, wait a minute, I'm just one little bit of, I want to take that. It turns out that one ticket was with their family.
Right.
So when people say it's two sides of the story or three sides of the story, no, I think it's one side to a story. And in this situation, he was like, hey, I have this amount of tickets for a family. My mother's coming or whomever's coming. You can sit with them.
The uncle and the grandpa.
Right. You'll be with your crew, your family.
Right.
This is your blood right
here. You ain't want to do it.
And she didn't want to sit with them. She wanted to, bring her friends or whatever.
Right. But she didn't make that known. She made it seem like he would only have one ticket for her and he wasn't going to have, she was going to be by herself.
Right.
And that wasn't the truth.
Because she mentioned, you just want your daughter to be there by herself with all these people. And that made it look bad.
Right, it did.
And I'm saying that doesn't sound right unless he only had one ticket. I said, I can't, that would be messed up.
But I think that daughter needs to understand too that the industry is not what she think it is. She figured because
because she said he's not helping me with my career.
Yeah.
The interesting point that he brought up was, do you think I'm not on the radio because I don't want to be on the radio?
Right.
He said I'm not on radio because radio pretty much is done with me.
Right.
So what makes you think that I have control over who gets on the radio and who doesn't?
And he also said that in this job, you have to work hard. You can't just know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody and you can get on. You still have to work hard on your craft. And from what he was saying, she's lazy.
Well, prior to that, she said, sometimes I don't do what I'm supposed to.
Damn.
And sometimes I can be a little lazy. I think she said lazy. But she
I
said, Dad, why don't you just motivate me? So that's still putting everything back on him to do.
Right.
So then she trying to make it seem like he got on her about being fat. He said you're fat and you got to lose weight or something like that. And the way he presented it sounded super real.
Yeah, it did.
He pretty much said, when you're trying to break into the music industry, either you have to be able to sing the doors off, or you have to sing good and have a certain look. He said it has to be one or the other. So take care of your body, get that look right, or practice your singing. And she wasn't practicing her singing.
No.
So he said he set her up with this singing stuff, and she wasn't doing that. So it seemed like I'm not even gonna say it seemed like, you could tell that she wants things handed to her. And then he mentioned that she wanted to be on Love and Hip Hop, and she wanted him to get her on, not Love and Hip Hop, what's it called?
Growing Up Hip Hop.
Growing Up Hip Hop. So she wanted him to get her in it. And there are a lot of teens in the industry that would like to be on that show.
Mm-hmm.
Teens of celebrities that would love to be on there. So he just can't click his fingers and do that. Yeah, he can make a couple of phone calls, but does she really want that?
Right. And then two, to be honest, everybody knows that when you get in the limelight, they're looking for a certain look. I mean, Kelly Price could tell you that. There's a lot of artists out here who are not small artists. They're plus size artists. And they can tell you what they had to do to get on.
But how
because
many
Kelly Price.
How many are on now? How many big women are they on now?
I'm thinking about that.
Because Kelly Price is
right.
She's moved along.
Right. She's not as
or the
relevant.
industry, the pop culture, the mainstream has moved beyond her.
Right.
Or pushed her out like they did Jagged Edge. Jennifer Hudson lost weight, but she's not on the radio.
Yeah, and he mentioned her too.
Yeah, but she's not blowing up.
She's not blowing up like that.
A well-known person.
And she's on The Voice.
Right, but she's not
out there like
singing,
that.
Right, she's not singing as far as Rihanna or Beyonce or somebody or LMA. So who's out there big? Can you think of anybody?
I'm trying to think right now.
It's hard for big
And
people.
I can't think of anybody at this moment.
It's hard.
Unless you've already been out there and you were small when you started and you might have gained weight. Like we have, you know, people who've been out there and now because they're older, they have, you know, gained weight. But other than that, I don't know anybody who's
Ain't
newly.
nobody mainstream this big.
No one's Main Street that you're speaking about, or I can think of at this moment, who's out. That's a plus size girl.
So.
And I'm thinking really hard right now too.
So.
I can't think of anybody at the moment.
I'm thinking that, and my heart definitely goes out to her. And Brandon kept it real when he said, I know my mother was jumping into stuff or trying to look out for her son or whatever. And I know she may have overstepped her boundaries or whatever, but you know, that's her son and I'm a teenager or whatever, so she's trying to protect me and my interests. He put it out there that, yeah, I know my mother was jumping in areas or probably overdoing it when it came to communication with the girl, because she was probably thinking this little young girl is trying to take advantage of my son. And you hear about her sticking the lawyers on him and getting a certain amount of money and then getting even more money, then freezing his accounts. And I believe he said something about having to go to jail or something like that for not taking care of his daughter.
Something like that.
Right.
Because I remember it at the beginning.
But he's on tour. He's like, how
right.
can I take care of it when I'm on tour?
But they had a agreement, because mom put that agreement together about what was going to be paid for. But if you think about it, it might not have been perfect.
She shouldn't have signed that.
But it might not have been perfect. But she was getting what, $500 a month.
Right.
And and then too, they paid for whatever school she went to.
Okay,
whatever school, cause she didn't go to regular school. She went to private school.
She did?
Yeah, they paid for private school.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah, if you listen to it, they paid for her to go to private school.
That makes them sound even better.
Yeah, so she didn't go to regular school. They paid for that. Even though she was getting $500 a month, whatever school that young lady was going to go to, that was paid for too because of where they was living at. They figured a private school would have been better than versus her being in public school.
And add on to that, I remember her saying, your daughter has to walk to school past these projects or past this dangerous block or these apartments. But because we don't have a car, but I see 10 cars in your driveway. And there's a misconception that if you deal with an entertainer, that you're accustomed to that entertainer's lifestyle. And some lawyers, well, of course, all lawyers want to that's coming after people, but some judges adhere to that notion. But for the most part, it's not 100% accurate, especially if you're in a group where you're dividing the check by 4. So he's not making Michael Jackson money or Whitney Houston money in the 90s. Jagged Edge is making Jagged Edge money, which is probably a little less than New Edition was making. But they still have to divide all that money. She said he has the 10 cars in the driveway. You're living like this in this big old house, and we're living like this. But he also said you could have moved in with me. But at the same time, she doesn't have to give up her daughter. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard to just say, yeah, take my daughter and live that lifestyle, and I stay over here. Because number one, of course, that's her child. Came through her. We can go over that all day long, so we're not even going to touch on that. But he's still on tour, which means that grandmother will be raising that child, or the grandfather, or whomever she's around. So a parent is always better than the grandparents if the parent is of sound mind and body. So she did right by not letting them take her child. She also did right by not signing that contract for $200 a month or whatever.
Yeah.
She did bad by taking her daughter back and forth from Chicago to Atlanta. She did bad there. she also did bad not allowing that little girl to go to her family reunions and be around her family, her other family.
Correct.
Because now there's that connection is not as strong as it could have been.
True, that's true.
And she would have had another opportunity to see her father, whom always on tour. Now he's in town, and you get the opportunity to see him, and now you don't want to see him.
Yeah, and then too, he had moved closer to her.
Moved 10
And
minutes
she
away.
would have known. She would have known that if she was, coming to accepting his invitations.
Right. Okay. So he said that he moved not too far from her, and he wanted to surprise her. So he gave her an invitation to come over for Thanksgiving.
Correct.
I want you to come see me on Thanksgiving, and we're gonna come pick you up, whatever. And she declined it, but inviting her over was supposed to be a big surprise because it was supposed to be not too far away.
Correct.
So instead of being an hour and a half away, now I'm 10 minutes away. So instead of this long ride, we're going to pick you up and bring you right down the road and say, surprise, I'm in town, I live here.
Right.
It's going to be you and I, being a little closer now. So it started out with him not looking so good, and I know he was bashed on social media, probably Facebook, YouTube, bloggers,
Everything.
Instagram, but he actually comes out looking good because it's not but so much you can do if you're an entertainer trying to raise a child and you're always on the road, because you have to think of something. In order for her to enjoy saying, my daddy's a celebrity, my daddy's a famous singer, my daddy does this and we can do that and I can go to this concert, in order for her to do that, he has to put that work in to become that. So which
True.
one do you want? You want your famous father, or you want a not so famous father who has a lot less money but has time for you? Because if he was that not famous father who has plenty of time for it and not money and can't pay for private school, he can't get you into concerts, he can't even fathom trying to get you on Love and Hip Hop or Growing Up Hip Hop,
Growing up hip hop.
and getting you singing lessons or demos or getting your song into certain hands, he wouldn't be able to do that.
Correct.
So anybody who has a famous parent or sibling, whatever, you have to take the good with the bad. You want to attach yourself to some of that celebrity, it may come with the expense of not being around that person as much as you like.
True.
And
That's true.
as a young man, he was a teenager trying to
Raise a child.
He didn't know what the hell he was doing.
So he was a child raising a child.
Right. So, and that mother was doing her thing. And in my experience, I was the middle person between a couple. So I was a transport. So instead of them getting around each other and arguing and fussing and all this kind of stuff, I was the point A and point B. All right, Money Green and come over here, and you pick such and such up, and you take him over there to her. All right, he's done. You can come pick him up and take him back over here with his father. I had to deal with them talking back and forth, and I would hear them.
Use the mediator.
Why you? I wish I could have mediated that, because
You were. Use the middle person though. Using the middle.
I was a transport, and I heard a lot, but I couldn't get involved.
Correct.
Because at one point I got cut off. You know what I'm saying? It was like, we don't want you seeing a child anymore because I'm mad at the person over there. So now I don't even want you to see this child, because now you might take him over there, or he may pop up. So to shut all that down, you can't even be the transport, because there will be no transportation going on. I'm like, Dad, can I even stop by and say what's up? Yeah, I think you can stop by him, but he can't leave with you. So
Wow.
that's an odd position to be in. But I see the games that a parent can play. In this case, it was a woman playing chess or using her child as a pawn. And she did a good job of it, but it hurt the grandparents. It hurt me. It hurt a couple other people. But she was like, I don't care. And she was bitter as hell. She was super bitter. But watching that video, it reminded me of her, because that little girl's mother, the guy who Brandon Casey was messing with, her mother and her, they seem so much alike. She never gave him the benefit of the doubt. She never said, your daddy's paying for your school and he's doing this. He's a good man. Oh, you need to go see your father. It seems like she was like right down to, your father could be doing more. Your father needs to get himself together. Your father dating Candy Burris. Oh no, you on Candy Burris is changing your diaper? I'm like, you know how hard it is to get some men to change diapers? Hard as hell to get some fathers to change diapers. So be happy that he had a woman next to him that was courteous enough and compassionate enough to be like, oh, I'm going to change this baby's diaper because if I don't, your baby going to get a goddamn rash. And all types of stuff going to be wrong with your child. So yeah, I'm going to change this little girl's diaper and look out for her. And she mad about that. I peeped all the little stuff that she was saying, and it didn't sound good.
Yeah, she did admit that she was bitter. So that was one thing she did admit to.
She admitted it, but a lot of what she did was done out of bitterness.
Yes, it was.
So just saying,
that's true.
I was a little bitter, but he didn't do this and he didn't do that. Her point of view was based on all that bitterness, and I saw through it, and I'm glad that he came forward and said what he had to say, and now everything makes sense.
Yeah, because you have to hear both sides of the story. And it's a hard thing when you're a child and you're a product of two people who are no longer together and they don't get along. It's a terrible situation when they don't get along. And that you can't get along, at least for the child. My situation isn't secret. I have that. It's not like their situation, but I'm a single parent.
Your father, your child, he can't sing.
He can't sing. It's awful.
Okay.
But he does something else. He does something else other than sing. He make babies. There you go.
What else he do?
More babies. So talk a lot of stuff, but.
That's how you get to make babies.
Hey, you gotta have that. You have to have that talk. You have to be young and naive at that time when when things go down, and you know how that goes. Anyway, it's hard when you're in the middle, and she's caught in the middle. The child is caught in the middle, especially because them two, as you can see, they really wasn't a couple. They was just dealing with each other, dating, and. As she said, they really didn't have a relationship. They just got together here and there. And then bam, here comes the baby. Out of state. And she paid, and she had to let everybody know she paid for him to come up there, right?
She was a little older.
Yeah, so she paid for them to come up there. But it's hard to be a single parent. But I think that you also have to own your truth on being a single parent. It didn't work out, but I think because Brandon had family involved, that it made it better. Even though he couldn't be there, his mother was involved. His mother could be there. Tried. Tried to work it out with the mother. And the mother even, the daughter's mother even said, I didn't get along with the mother. Right. It wasn't that you didn't get along with the mother. It's that you really didn't want to deal with the mother because you really wanted to deal with Brandon.
Right.
But you couldn't. My thing is, if the relationship is not there and there isn't a relationship, let's do what we can to repair what we have. If the mother, for the child. So if the grandmother or some aspect of the person in the family is going to try to do something, work with that person. My situation, I didn't have that. My son's father didn't want to work within the realms of the situation. He wanted a relationship in order to deal with my child, which I didn't want the relationship anymore. But it wasn't that I didn't try to co-parent. Is the other person didn't want to co-parent, and he felt that, hey, if you're going to take me for child support, let child support co-parent, which was the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. But hey, everybody,
let child support co-parent?
Let child support be his father.
That was his statement.
That is the statement that was made.
Ooh.
Right. Which I thought was the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. But hey, if you don't, every situation is different. If you allow that person to be the father of your child and they choose not to, it takes two people to make a child. One person can't just take care of the child. It takes two. It takes two to make things go right. But anyway, it takes two people. I didn't conceive by myself. So it takes two. If you feel that that person is not doing their part, then you have to go to the man. I didn't want to involve the man, but it wasn't working out between us two. It felt like as the mother, I was the only person who was the sole provider and did everything for my child.
Right.
And this other person took advantage of that, feeling like, oh, well, this is what she's going to do. I'm cool with that. I'm not going to do anything to help. I'm going to do what I want to do because I'm who I am. And that's all well and good. You want to be who you are, but you're going to pay some child support. I don't see nothing wrong with that if you cannot come to a consensus between you two.
Yeah,
that's what I feel.
Well, they came to a consensus. It sounds like the mother was like, if I get a certain amount of money, I'm cool. But the daughters, yes, I need a certain amount of money to support me, but I like to have my father too. And I think that's where the lines are crossed, because that mother wanted to get her hands on as much money as she could. And although I don't like it, I know where she's coming from.
Well, I get that, but too, you got to understand now, with the broadcast that went out, this young girl is 23 now.
Right.
As a parent, your obligation is to take care of your child till they're 18. Right. And they're grown. After that, they're grown. But you know how all families are. We're always going to be there to help our child, regardless of what age they are. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So my thing is, you're an adult now too. And you got to start taking responsibilities as an adult. Not saying that your dad or your mama is not going to be there for you, but now you got to start doing stuff for you.
Well, he mentioned that he paid $500 because she accumulated some traffic tickets recently. So you can't say he doesn't care and that he's not there at all. He's still shoving out money.
And he doesn't have to.
And that's silly stuff. That's not anything that's going to help her. That's
True.
her out here being
reckless,
irresponsible or being reckless.
Yeah.
Right. And $500, I know she was cutting up. She got a few tickets or something.
More than a few.
Yeah, $500.
What was you doing?
Yeah. So he actually looks good in this situation. He doesn't look great because he's still, and that goes for any set of parents that get with somebody and they realize right after they have a child or after they get pregnant they can't stand the person or they pick the wrong person.
You picked the wrong person.
That's just, I'm not going to say the luck of the draw, but that's just how life is. A lot of times we deal with the wrong person, and hopefully when we mess with the wrong person, we don't slip up and have a baby in the process.
But guess what? I had somebody just like you, a mediator, in the middle of the situation. Mm-hmm. Because we couldn't talk among each other, so that middle person was the best person to work things out and to kind of relay what needed to happen between me and my child's son. So unfortunately,
your child's father.
Thank you, my child's father. I'm sorry about that. It's unfortunate that you have to do that. That's really, if you think about the big picture, that's really bad that you are not able to have a conversation with your child's father, and you got with this person to create this person, this little person, and now you can't even have a conversation with that person about your child. Mm-hmm. And it seems like, oh my gosh, the love that created this person is not that same love that you have for this person now. And it's so weird that you're in a place where you can't even deal with this person. You got to put somebody in the middle of it.
And it happens so fast sometimes.
It happens so fast to the point that you can't even believe that we got to this point. We shouldn't even get to this point.
Right.
We should be mature people and able to co-parent. We don't have to have a relationship with each other, but to co-parent for the child's sake.
Right.
It's sad that you have to have a person in the middle to be able to have that work out.
It's almost like that person is the adult.
Right, the middle person is the adult, and you're not.
Parents are the kids.
Yeah, it's terrible.
They need some guidance.
It's terrible. It's really bad that you have to have that, and I feel some kind of way, to be honest, that I had to resort to doing that.
Well, I'm familiar with your situation to an extent, and you and this woman that Brandon Casey made a baby with, y'all in two different levels. Y'all two different ballparks, because she was a trip. Or she is a trip.
Yeah.
And she could really help this situation and help her daughter live a better life.
True.
And get herself together.
True.
It is right there, and she's putting everything on Brandon. And it's not, some of it is on her, some of it is on that daughter, and I think most of it is on her to help the daughter.
Yeah, because
she realized,
yeah, you're right,
come forward with some of the mistakes she made and some things that were at fault on her end.
Yep,
I think that will open the daughter's heart
for
a little
the father
bit more to come in more.
And I think to be honest, as a mother, I think that she was selfish with her daughter.
Yeah.
Meaning that she felt if she was more honest with her daughter, that she would gravitate to Brandon versus her. You're always going to be her mother regardless. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I felt that she had she felt selfish about her daughter. Like, if I do things this way, I won't have to worry about ever losing her, because she's always going to side with me, her mother, because I've been there for her. I'm always there. But the way she did it wasn't right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't right. And she's going to have love for both her parents, her mother and her father. You're going to need your mother for certain things, and you're going to need your father for certain things. That's why God made it so that you have a woman and a man, a husband and a wife, to create that child.
And I'm going to tell you one major difference, and I can see this in many relationships, but it's clear in this one. That little girl's mother called us. I'm not going to say little girl. That young
woman,
adult, 23-year-old woman, her mother called us her.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's like she protects her where she may not need to be protected. And in this instance, it's the father that keeps it real with her. So the father is a straight shooter, and he tells her exactly how it is. And her father's going to be the one, if she opens up and gets closer and stop trying to be famous and be his daughter while trying to struggle for her own and work for her own. Her father's going to be the one that gives her the game. This is what this guy's thinking. This is where he's coming from. This is what this guy over here wants. This is what this one over there is trying to get.
Right.
He's going to keep it real with her, whereas her mother's going to probably still
shield her. Keep shielding her.
And it seems like her mother did a lot of that, shielding her from the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping
That's
things
true.
one-sided.
That's true.
Whereas if she was with her father more, he'd break things down to her.
And especially if the father wants to be there.
Didn't you say he wants to be
yes,
there?
he wants to be a part of her life.
And he also has multiple children.
Yep, and she's not the only one.
He's still in the road.
Yep. He got 2 more kids.
And the mother, she was upset not just about Candy, but she was upset about any other woman that he was dating
right.
with.
And he was dating also somebody from Destiny's Child.
Well, that's what they.
And then she made a big light of the age thing.
Right.
I mean,
but he was a teenager too.
Right. So come on, let's stop.
And it's messed up how they. I'm not gonna say they twisted it, but the way they presented it.
Right.
They said he was dealing with her, and she was, I think, 13 when they met. But she didn't say he was 13 when he was messing with her. She said he messed with her years later, I think when she was 17.
Right.
I think he said 17.
And she said he did not touch her until she was of age.
17.
Right.
But why put out there that he met her when he was 13? Unless you want to put that 13 in everybody.
You want to put that 13 stigma out there.
So everyone he is 13, he was dealing with her.
So you want to make him
nasty.
you want to make him a
pedophile. Make him have to be R. Kelly somebody, and it wasn't like that. So if he's
was no golden showers going on.
If he's 19 or 20 dealing with a legal 17, because some states 16 or 17 is like
it's legal,
and 17
True.
in Georgia I think it's legal, whatever. And he's 2 or 3 years older, and it's legal in that state. That's fine.
Correct.
So they try to do him dirty on that one, but
yeah, I ain't think that was a good look right there.
But he came out.
Yeah, but my thing is stay on topic.
Stay on topic, and he came out looking good.
Yeah.
He came out because some of these people, entertainers or not, you hear him talking like, man, that's game, or he lying, or you could tell. But he came and he was just spitting so much facts, or so many facts, and a lot of truth. You can see where everything went wrong with this mother who was doing or using her daughter a certain way. So hopefully
Correct.
she can open up, maybe get counseling, or stop acting like a brat, because he did say she was a brat. She can get some self-esteem. She can start exercising, eating better, and building up her self-esteem.
Correct.
Learn how to talk to him, because I know it's hard for some daughters to talk to their fathers.
Yeah, it is.
It's hard for some sons to talk to their fathers, because some of our fathers are intimidating. Like, man, let me be quiet, because I ain't even saying this to him.
And he might not even notice that he's intimidated. And because she has an easy relationship with her mother and their bond, and I can be honest with that too, because I had a very good relationship with your mom, that's who I was with. You know, my dad was in my life, but he remarried. But it was pretty hard. It felt, when you're younger, it's a different scenario. You don't feel as at ease. And I don't think sometimes that the parent even thinks of it that way. They don't even think that, I feel like you could talk to me. I feel like there's no problem. But it's a stigma there of that father figure. It's kind of scary to some of us, women and men. Mm-hmm. It's a scary figure to you. And if you notice, anybody who tells you, they always talk about their mama, because their mama seems more easier to go to than the dad.
I think men need to learn, those who don't know how to. They need to learn how to talk up to a topic. So the child can open up, or the young adult can open, as opposed to expecting that child to just blurt everything out or just come straight out with everything. Sometimes
they're fearful.
Right, you need to talk about other topics that are less invasive or not as personal, and then you lead up to things and give them the security and the comfort of knowing that they can speak to you. And knowing that they can speak to you doesn't stay forever with that person. Sometimes they can come and go. So at that moment, they can feel open. And then something can happen. They can shut down a little more, or they can grow into a different person that makes them want to shut down.
That's true.
New experiences happen and they shut down. And as a father or mother, you just have to reassure them and bring them all the way back around and ease into the topics or whatever. And it may take hours, it may take days, but make them comfortable again. And I can let y'all know how to do it, because I'm good with talking to kids. I used to be a school teacher.
Yeah, and I think too, when you become a parent, you start seeing things that you didn't see when you was younger. You might be open to a little bit more reasoning why your parents were the way they were, because now you're a parent. You have to remember too how people grew up. You don't know how your parents grew up around their parents, and the reason why they are who they are now is because of their parents. How they were with their parents, they figure, hey, this is what I grew up with. This is what I'm gonna do when I have a child. And see, as the generations goes down, and now with my son, I'm very open, and he feels very comfortable to come to me and tell me something. And he's a teenager. Mm-hmm. Some things that he's comfortable with saying to me, I'm shocked. I'm like, really? Are you
don't wanna
asking
hear
me
it.
this? I
Mhm.
can't believe you're even saying this to me. But he's very comfortable with sharing ideas, videos, different things. He's very comfortable, and I feel very good. I feel good about that because that makes me feel like I'm doing something okay
Right.
with him. There's some parents who don't have that with their kid, and because I'm a mom and I have a son, you would figure, hey, I would have that with a daughter, but I have that with my son, and I'm really happy that he is able to come to me because he even talks on the phone with people on speaker, and they be saying stuff, and I'm like, are you really on speaker with them while I'm in the room? And you're in my room. He's in my room.
Mhm.
So that's kind of like crazy, but he
Mhm.
feels very comfortable.
We
So
hear about that.
I
We hear
feel
about
good
them.
about that.
We hear about them conversations later.
I'm not going to tell you about them conversations. They're a little deep.
I look forward to hearing some of that. But
But the point is that you want your child to feel comfortable and able to come to you and talk to you versus being mom or being dad. Even if your mom and dad are not together, if they're separate, you want to be able to go to both of them. It's sad when you feel like you only can go to one parent over the other and you're not able to go to both. But that all works in how the two people co-parent with the child. You don't have to be best friends, but if you can both co-parent with that child and make them feel like they're first, then they feel so much more comfortable coming to both of y'all.
yeah, but you can't do that if they really aren't
If
first.
that other parent is not on board, you can't do anything about that. You
And
have to
this
do the best
and,
you can.
and this woman in this case,
Right.
she was putting herself in a scenario.
Right.
It
And
was
but
it
if
was a
she was,
package. It was a
it
package
was a
deal.
package deal, and I
We
I understand that because I have
we
that
are
situation.
first. This is your first
Right.
daughter. Look. You take us.
Or
Once you-
nothing at all.
Right.
But we have to be mature when we get in relationships with people and sometimes it doesn't work out. You have a kid with that person. This is where we have to be mature and step up and co-parent. Even if the person has moved on. I have my sister-in-law has a good relationship with her stepson's mother because she has moved on. It's all about co-parenting and make sure that he strives and be the best that he can be.
Right.
So he has 4 parents. You know what I'm saying? And they all equally have a rule that's universal in both households. So therefore, he doesn't have to worry about feeling a certain way because they all come together as a village
As a team.
and as a team and come together.
And
And they have a
anybody-
good relationship.
And any youngster, whether you're in your teens or what have you, if you have a parent that's a celebrity, or a parent that's in the military, or a parent that goes to jail, if they're out of your presence for long amounts of time, and there's not really much they can do about it, you can hold them at fault if you want. But if they're working and providing for you, then they are helping you in a certain amount. It's up to both of you, more parent than on the child, but it's up to both of your parents to help foster that relationship or make that relationship stronger.
That's true.
But you have to accept the fact that if your parent is out working, like I said, military, oil rig somewhere, they go out to the Middle East because they get a major contract, they're trying to make a better day for you. And this man is out here hitting the road, and of course he's enjoying the fruits of his profession, being a singer. Oh, I wish I was a singer.
His labor.
Man, they had it good. They still got it good because the brothers can still sing, and they still
Yeah.
putting out quality music.
Good music.
And they still have the woman swooning. But with that comes that status and the ability of your parent to pay for you and give you this lifestyle and help you go to this nice school and everything. You got to take the good with the bad.
You do.
No, you don't get to see him as much, but he's providing for you.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind.
And single parents who don't have the other parent, there are other outlets for you to go through. My son goes to a mentoring program. Let me shout out to Mentoring the Manhood. Excellent program. It helps your boys. And the word is true where it says mentoring to manhood. From boys to men. From middle school to high school. They really help bridge the gap for mothers who don't have their fathers in their lives. So kudos to women who are doing it themselves. There's other entities that will help you if you got uncle or granddad or cousin or brother. Try to get them involved in your child's life as well to help them, bridge that gap. Even for single fathers, there's single fathers out there too. There are mentoring programs for girls out there too. We got mentoring for Lily. Lily is out there too. So there's different mentoring programs. There's different programs that help bridge the gap for those single parents. So, go out here and look for stuff to help you and your child. Don't make it look like, oh my God, woe's me. The child's father is not in their life. Make the best of what you have and do what you can do to make that success in your child.
Shay on the mic with the public service announcement.
Hey.
That's a lot of information right there. But in closing, hopefully that young lady gets the help she needs, get the attention she needs, maybe go to therapy and can heal. Hopefully her mother would get out of the way and start keeping it more real with her daughter. And Brandon seems to be doing the right thing and handling his business. So shout out to him.
Shout out to him.
And
yeah.
Much respect to him. That's Brandon Casey. He's doing a good job and he's trying.
Yeah. And I want to say one thing to the mothers who have men out here who's doing their best. Give them a chance to do their best and stop being in the way of that. If a man wants to be in their child's life, let them be there. Give them that chance instead of tearing them down. We all learning. This is no manual on how to be a parent. You learn as you go. You talk to other people. You figure it out. But let that man be a man in that child's life, especially if he wants to be there.
And let him go to let the child go to family reunions on the other side.
Yes, it's important.
Spend some time over there.
It's very important. Let that happen.
And some of y'all parents who buy your kids clothes and shoes, and then when they go back with the mother, you keep the clothes and send them back with the clothes they came. Y'all need to stop that. Y'all need to stop. I know Brandon Casey's mother did that. We know y'all want to keep the clothes so they can wear them next time, but nah, that's on the petty side. If you take that child shopping, let that child go home.
Thank you.
With the clothes.
Stop being petty.
God damn, you know they ain't gonna fit them clothes in 30 days or 60 days and you pick them back up, or the seasons may change. Y'all need to stop being petty and let them wear them goddamn clothes. If any child out there has fallen victim to your mother or father, the parent that you're not living with, they buy you clothes when you see them on the weekend, and then when you go back to the other parent, they take the clothes back. Give me that parent's phone number, and I'm going to go over there and deal with them myself. Because this is some BS. I got some Timbs, and I can tie them up tightly, and I easily, when it comes to a child, I would easily, if the child wants me to, I'll shove it up the child's parent's ass. So if your father is doing bad, he can walk around with 3 shoes after I get through with him. And one ain't going to be on his feet.
So you know what? For today, please subscribe, share. Please post your comments too on this episode that we're talking about today on single parents or parents who, or excuse me, let me go back to children of a parent who is a celebrity. And they don't even have to be a celebrity. But we would love to hear your comments. We want you to subscribe to and share and like what we're talking about. Until next time, I'm Shay on the mic, and this is
You can say my name for me.
Money Green,
That's me.
and this is
Lyrics and Lies.
Thank you, and we're out.